about the need for a new library. As you can see, our existing library, though very heavily used, is outdated, very small, and has no parking. I want you all to know that a new library has been a priority for me as well, and that I have been listening to you. I have talked with the mayor so many times about this great need that he's probably just as excited as I am to finally be making this announcement.
From a totally different perspective, but yes.
I wonder what I'm going to talk to him about now. I'm sure I'll come up with something. I am pleased to announce that our new library will be a state-of-the-art building in a great new location at 6800 Northwestern, kitty corner to Warren Park, where hundreds of children play on a daily basis, close to our wonderful elementary schools, accessible by public transportation, and with a parking lot for those of you who want to drive. I'm also hopeful that this new library will spark more economic development along the Western Avenue corridor. I would truly like to thank Mayor Emmanuel for continuing to talk to me, for his innovative thinking, and for seeing this through to fruition. I would also like to thank Eugene Jones from the Chicago Housing Authority for being a wonderful partner in this project. I've gotten to know Gene pretty well, and I look forward to continuing to work with him. I have seniors who visit me often asking for help with housing. Our seniors are the foundation of our community, and I am so pleased that they will be included in this project. Lastly, I would like to thank Commissioner Brian Bannon and the Chicago Public Libraries. Our new library will provide services for every generation. A full early childhood active learning space, homework assistance for school-age children, access to technology and resources for our teens, and technology and workforce programs for adults. This is truly an exciting day for the 50th Ward. I am happy to be able to deliver this wonderful news, and I look forward to bigger and better plans for the ward. Thank you all so much, and without further ado, I'm going to announce Mayor Emmanuel. Thank you.
I have all the confidence you'll think of something else that we can start to talk about. I have that confidence. I also like to recognize Senator Silverstein that's also joined with us. I was at this library not a long time ago, about a year and a half ago, when we announced the Google robots system. It was right here on a Saturday, and I was taken aback. It was a beautiful day on a Saturday. It was like 85 degrees, and you had about 60, 70 kids in the room adjacent to us. Was an indication of how this neighborhood embraced the libraries as educational institutions, as a community center. And Deborah then started that conversation, actually a little longer than a year and a half ago, about the need for a new modern facility. This effort, Deborah spoke specifically about this library as it relates to her community. I want to note this whole initiative also includes Alderman Marge Lorino and Alderman Arena Rosa in what will be in the Independence Park neighborhood. It will be located geographically in the 45th Ward, but it brings together the communities of the adjacent Marge Lorina's ward, Alderman Rosa's ward, and Alderman Arena's ward, which talks about how a library may be located in one ward, but serves a larger community. And then also another library in University area, Denny Solis's area, and then started in Alka Gardens down in Alderman Beal's ward. But Chicago is known for three things, a lot of things. First and foremost, we're known for Chicago Cub fans. Chicago Cub fans, this is finally safe on the north side to make this announcement. Chicago Cub fans are redefine what loyal is, and redefine going the distance for a team. And I can also say, not just here in Chicago, my son went to the game in school out in California, and he was at the game last night with a friend of his, and he said all around him were Chicago Cub fans. So you may leave physically the city, but you never leave Chicago Cubs and your commitment to see something that's a part of history. And I think the Cub fans and the Cubs team are making history and also define history, and it's a great and exciting time for the city of Chicago. The three things I was originally referring to, until I went off on that point, was we are known for our great architecture. People from around the world come to the city of Chicago to see great architecture. So we have two different schools of architectural thought that define modern architecture. We have now also a very successful architectural biannual that will be held a year from now. Great architecture. Our library, neighborhood library system is now rated the #1 library system in the United States of America. Third, we're known for redefining what public housing and community housing is all about, with our mixed income housing, our veterans housing, our senior housing. So we're bringing all three strengths to bear on redefining what what some people call as co-locating, but I always call as a shared space. Great architecture, great community services through neighborhood libraries, and great public housing for our seniors, our veterans, and mixed income. And bringing all three to bear. And this first started, just to give people a little lesson, 3 years ago actually, in back of the yards, when we were building a high school, they didn't have a library, a neighborhood community library. So when we were building the high school, we decided on the first floor to put a neighborhood library, a different entrance for the residents and a different entrance for the high school students. It's done tremendous for the whole neighborhood and community. And at that point, I wanted to start to think again and fresh, break down barriers where you think libraries are over here, schools are over there, parks districts are somewhere over there too, and housing is somewhere else to be thought of. And if you brought all of them together and bring what is both housing and a neighborhood area for our veterans to be literally physically in the same space with our kids learning together, sharing. Our kids could do a lot learning from veterans, and veterans could give something of themselves as they volunteer, not only for seniors, but for our children. And really turning a library not as a place of learning beyond books, but learning from each other because of a shared experience. And so this effort also, and I constantly run into architects who want to be involved in a civic mission and a civic project. We saw it with Skidmore Owings at Chinatown Library that won international awards. We're seeing it this weekend that we opened up the Riverwalk, and recently a new L stop with Carol Ross Barney. We have seen it with Jeannie Gang with our new boathouses along the river, where our great architects that are known worldwide want to be engaged in great civic projects here in the city of Chicago. And so this effort, and Deborah has talked to me about it, both John Arena and Marge have talked to me about their neighborhoods in Independence Park, of bringing together something unique and distinct, housing and neighborhood libraries, but done in a Chicago-only architectural greatness. And bringing our architectural community, which is world-renowned, to do projects here and work here in the city of Chicago that's of architectural significance. It's not just a cookie-cutter approach. Do something that stands out, is artistic, aesthetically appealing, and then also allows a whole community, not just when the families here and the communities are here, but people that live there to also study them. And I think that will be something that will also, once again, for Chicago, put us on the map of one of the forefronts of what is shared space and working together. And so these are going to be the 4 projects, Alta Gardens, here, as Deborah talked about, in the Northwest community, in the 45th Ward, but in the Jefferson Park, larger community, that area, and something in Alba Homes on the University Community Campus, and 4 distinct projects of bringing housing, architecture, and community libraries together for a shared experience. And somebody that's been, both Brian Bannon, the head of libraries, and Gene Jones, the head of housing, have been intimately involved for the last 6-7 months as we thought about how to do something that would stand out and be distinct, and people again would come to see Chicago on the forefront, on the cutting edge of a new idea. And somebody that's allowed and helped make this possible, Gene Jones, the head of Chicago Housing Authority. Gene?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to be here today as we celebrate this innovative partnership that brings new levels of efficiency and is an important opportunity to Chicago neighborhoods. By collating libraries with affordable housing, we not only provide housing and learning centers where they are vastly needed, but make communities more resilient and sustainable. These projects will allow CHA to deliver new housing units on the north side and expand affordable housing opportunities to even more communities. It helps us to provide housing in opportunity areas where affordable housing is not as plentiful, as it is in other areas, a key goal of CHA. We know that housing is vital to our neighborhoods, but strong, healthy communities also require community anchors like libraries that provide resources for lifelong learning. As you all know from the many awards that Commissioner Banyan has received and Mayor Emmanuel have won, today's Chicago libraries are not your grandfather's library anymore. Today's libraries offer everything from early childhood education to adult education and skill learning, from fundamental access to the digital world to the creative and fun learning and coding activities of youth media, things that residents of every community want and need. Co-location is also a smart financial decision because we were able to move more cost effectively, build the resource communities want and need. This is a leadership and creativity at its best. And I'd like to thank Mayor Emmanuel for his leadership and vision on this historic event. Also have to thank Alderman Silverstein. We sat down, we got to know each other for a long time. And never complained, always returned their phone calls, and we sat down, we worked it through, and also with the commissioner. And that's what it's all about, a partnership. Urban planners and policy folks have been talking about this idea for many years. What's different in Chicago is that rather than talk about it, we're doing it. And once again, just as we saw the Whole Foods in Inglewood 2 weeks ago, and Mariano's in Bronxville last week, Chicago is once again showing what it means to be a leader in the community development arena, affirming Chicago's place as a city of neighborhoods. Now I'd like to introduce one of my colleagues of the sister agency, Brian Banyan.
I want to start by welcoming again everyone to our neighborhood library and acknowledge actually the great leadership that we have in our library. So much of what we're able to do in terms of innovative and creative programming starts with the great team of Chicago Public Library. And so Catherine Wilson, the branch manager here, but all those managers and library leaders around the city, they're providing this kind of quality program. This new 21st century libraries will enable us to take even further. It really starts with them. So I want to acknowledge and thank